Rain.
Morning.
And darling, you can hear me fine. You can hear me all right?
No.
Perfectly.
Oh, fantastic. And Bree's in, our wonderful Bree, for her first digital office hours. We'll come to Bree shortly. Sue's just organising a picture, but we've got Sue's sound this week. So colleagues, as you can see, they've let me out of the office this week.
Why?
Well, that's a really great question, Kate. I'm going to talk about your magnificent hair shortly too. But can I say, and good evening, Paul. We have missed you more than life, Paul.
I can't hear.
So
I'm gonna
colleagues,
go out and come back in.
Donna, go out and back in, darling. You do that.
I can hear you, Donna.
Yes, but Donna can't hear me for some reason.
Okay.
But that might be me too. It's a bit of a weird environment. But so colleagues, welcome to the waterfront campus of Charles Darwin University. It's a lovely, lovely place. Business is here, humanities is here, all the pathway programs are here. And I'm here because, Paul, I'm going to, after we finished our sessions today, walk around the corner and enable an oral examination for an artifact exegesis thesis for an exhibition which is in the Darwin Visual Arts, DVA. So it's all happening this morning. I'm so excited, but all our friends are back and we have Sue. So look, we need to probably start with Queen Bree, and then I want to hear everything, Paul. I see you're in a hotel room, mate. So is that for the conference? Oh, we're going to go. It is, yeah. We're going to go straight there in a second. But Bree, good morning, Angel. Do you want to just say hello to everybody? We're so excited to see.
Good morning. Hi.
And Bree has just joined us. So Bree, darling, do you want to talk a little bit about the things you're interested in?
Okay, so I'm interested in, I'm a nurse and I am studying person-centered care in residential aged care.
Right. So as you can see from Kate is always enthusiastic. There's a level of excitement there. So Bree, meet Kate. Kate, meet Bree. Kate, speak to Bree.
Oh, look, person-centered care I've written about, and I've been in about 200 aged care facilities in Sydney since 1997. I could talk for the end of the earth about this. It's my PhD thesis as well, which is done.
Oh, that's so okay. Oh, cool. All right. I'd love to talk with you. Where
are you?
In Victoria, Melbourne.
Okay. Yep. I'm Sydney.
Yep.
Now
I work at the Royal Melbourne.
Okay. I just want to say something to Tara and everyone. Eunice sends her apologies this morning. She'll be home later this afternoon.
Right. So Kate, obviously we're sending all our love to Eunice. I'm a bit emotional about it. So I
know.
As long as she's well and fantastic, a big chunk of my heart and yours belongs to Eunice. So all our love goes to her. But we've met Bree this morning. So Bree is enabling the next stage of her PhD. Is that how we'll describe it, Bree? And so she's just joined CDU. And how have you found the sort of second start, my darling? How are you moving into second and then third?
Inclusive, welcoming. It's so good. Yeah.
Oh,
supportive.
It's just joyous. We might see your beautiful daughter at some point, who has the most magnificent red hair I've ever seen on a human being.
I'm not sure which one you've so I talked about that with my partner and I realized these are recorded and
that's fine.
So
but she's magnificent.
We're okay. What's that?
She's magnificent.
Well, I have 3 kids and they all have red hair. So you might see all 3 of them at some stage.
You are a gift to the universe. My goodness, but just keep having children. Bree, just keep having children. We need more.
It's hopefully on the cards. I'm not sure. I would love more kids.
That is fantastic. Well, you're gifting the planet these beautiful humans. So, Bree, we're thrilled to have you with us. And as I said, you and Kate might have some very special moments. And we've got a lot of people who are in allied health, regional health, person-centered care, person-centered education. The wonderful Liam has joined us in the middle of the night. Bree, people join us from all over the world, and Liam's joined us. His respect and decency and the work he does in communities to enable life and livelihood and justice and hope changes our lives every single day. So, Liam, do you want to say hello to the legendary Bree? You're amazing, Liam. You look exhausted, you naughty man. You need to sleep more.
Oh, it's the first week of a new job.
Thought it was.
So
Yeah, I'm hello Bree. I'm welcome to the club.
Hi.
Yeah, I'm starting I've a new role. I'm at Leeds Trinity University, and it has just been a bit of a roller coaster this week. Who knew that you could only get connected in our secure age devices, that you can only access your email on one machine. Now that's a new thing. Which is like an iPad, which I was like, oh, okay, this is new. But yeah, so that was a bit of a conundrum where I couldn't do my job for about 2 days. So playing catch up. But yeah, I'm convening a lot of papers slash modules in this new role. And yeah, it's a lot and it's a big incline. But you know, we survive and we live to tell a tale another day.
Look, Liam, mate, I've been thinking of you for the last 2 weeks. I knew it was about now you were starting. And, mate, it is tough. And, Paul, you may want to speak to this too. Nobody talks about how incredibly difficult it is to start a new job and the work and the effort. And, I mean, you exhaust life when you do it, Liam. It takes so much out of you. And, you know, yes, you can use the cliches of a learning curve and stuff, but we could make it so much easier for other humans. And look, it's funny, this week I've had some bonkers stuff with technology as well.
Can I ask a question? How do we butt in? Do you want me to put my hand up?
Butt in now, Bree. Talk to us. Talk to Liam. Talk, darling.
Hi, I'm just wondering, is that because of the VPN stuff?
Oh,
So I think what we can't even access a VPN here. It's like literally we're on one device and one device only, in the spirit of agile working. And they said, yeah, you can't have emails on your phone either because it's so out of date. I was like, great, okay, work-life separation, don't need my phone. And they were like, no, you need your phone to log into this, and this. I was like, oh my
I
days.
think what I'm seeing is this is very neurotic fear in the world that we are like closing down everything and there's only one thing to do on digital. I think this is what I'm seeing. I'm not sure.
yeah. I mean,
please, Tara, let's not, can we email on many devices?
Oh, no, that's exactly right. No, I'm a big believer in enabling software to allow careful, considered movement of ideas. The whole gift of digitization is mobility. We take mobility away. What the hell are we doing? But Liam, what's now happened to control it is there's a control of hardware. And I mean, as I said, I had bonkers stuff this week where I was trying to examine, do other universities a favor and examine. And I was having to go through 57 portals and literally, I wish I was making this up, list my first pet and go through and say, what was my favorite television program? And I'm going, dude, I'm just trying to examine a thesis for you. Dude, I'm just trying to do you a favor. You don't need to know my first pet, right?
But we need to know who you are, Tara. That's what we need to know in digital world, apparently. I think it's so ridiculous, all these.
Yeah. Look, I understand why, because of, cyber threats and stuff, but go, Liam. Go, Liam.
Yeah, another thing that I've been asked to do, and I am actually looking forward to this. I've got a buddy on the modules that I'm leading. A very new lecturer has arrived at the institution, and they're on a reduced workload for this year. They're in a temporary post. And it said, oh, Liam, you're an experienced lecturer now. You've been at another institution, which was very heavy in terms of what you had to deliver. So can you be this person's mentor? And it's like, okay, yeah. Is it this person leading that person? And I was like, I will probably learn a lot more from that person because they're, double my age. They've had 2 other careers. And I'm like, yeah, we'll learn from each other, maybe. But I'm not going to do it in kind of like, oh, I'm your mentor and this is teaching and this is what it's about. No, we're not about that life.
And Liam, you might find a really good mate there, and in a new institution, those sort of mates really make a real difference and last forever. And as you might have heard from my Times Higher podcast that arrived overnight, my response to mentoring is somewhat aberrant. But Paul, I think we're so hard on people as they arrive in new posts, mate. This really worries me because that's why people bounce out of jobs so quickly now, I think, Paul.
Yeah, I think the world of looking after new starters is kind of gone because we're also worried about our own job loads and workload. Workload planning comes up a lot in the UK. And yeah, I mean, when I started in my lectureship post, I was kind of given the key to my office and just told to get on with it 2 weeks before we had the new starters, with no content or handover, and it was just like fight or flight, just get on with it, just start teaching. And luckily, you know, it didn't overly phase me to teach. It was more the systems and the policies and the bureaucracy behind it that I didn't really get a grip to straight away. But yeah, I feel your pain, Liam. That's on top of all the IT issues. That sounds pretty painful, and I'd want to be screaming at a wall by now.
There's like a new package of programs which are being delivered for the first time. It was a bit like what Tara experienced at Bolton, you know, a new suite of programs, and it's just like, run with it.
Yeah, look, I know, and it's horrific. When I arrived at Bolton, there were 13 new programs, with 2 weeks notice, and this is catastrophic. And we do the long days to make sure the students are cared for, but it takes it out of our lives, Liam, and that's why, Liam, we've got to look after you, because as I said to Bree in the introduction to you, you're very, very precious, and you look tired, mate. So please, I hate the sort of phrase self-care. You know, Kate can use it with meaning, I can't really, but get some sleep, mate. And just, if you're not thinking full throttle, it's not going to work, mate. So please look after yourself, all right? Oh, mate, bless you. And Paul, can we just talk about you and your hotel room and Private Lives? Because of course it's my Private Lives, my favorite play ever. Anyway.
Oh, wow.
And you were like ever, because I did a lot of work on Noel Coward. So how did it go? And we've missed you. How's it gone, mate?
Yeah, very well. Yeah, busy. It was a big show going into a tiny little theatre, so it was very difficult. And actually, the press night was yesterday, but I was at the conference, so I couldn't be there. But yeah, really good. And it was good to see in the UK, in a world of theatre that is very contemporary and revival based around musicals, it's good to see a classic Noel Coward in the West End, in a nice old Edwardian theatre with a very good theatre, a very good audience that are very responsive. It was nice to see, which is weird to say, a break in the usual theatre that we see in the West End at the moment. It was nice to see a classic playhouse play. So it was good.
And those of you that haven't ever heard of Private Lives or Noel Coward, please seek it out. It will transform your life. And we'll go to Lorraine in 1 second too. And we have to say, gorgeous Shell's joined us, the legendary Ian's joined us, and Vita is back, the star of the Northern Territory, the person people are writing folk songs about, Anvita. And so Anvita is back. It's lovely to see you with the great hair, which means she's feeling all right. If that proxy is still in place, Anvita, is the proxy still in place?
Most definitely.
So are we going well? Are we going well?
We're going well. The systematic review has been submitted to a journal under peer review at the moment. First two chapters, introduction and lit review, are ready to be sent out to my primary at the end of the month. And we're on track. We're back on track. That's why I've been off.
No, but we've thought of you every week, darling one, just to make sure you're well. We knew if something had gone wrong, you'd come back for a quick chat, but also we wanted to make sure you're going well. So this sounds on track. You're ready to go. And can I say, you look magnificent, and the hair is just glorious.
Thank you. I thought I needed like a new summer cut, so I got that.
Yes, well, they'll be adding verses to your English folk songs about your fabulous Peter. Absolutely, you star. And Adam's in, and Queen Shell's in the house. Sorry, Shell, I'm not down the corridor from you today. I'm in the waterfront campus. I missed you. I'll just sort of wave randomly down the corridor to you. Fantastic. And of course, beautiful Ian's in, and Professor Quinton is in for about half an hour before he gets on a flight back to Palmerston North. So, colleagues, before we start just checking in on everybody, talking through things, let's just do our usual thing. Is there a question or an issue you think that we can talk about as a family today that's worrying people? Should I go to Adam? I went straight to Adam.
The actual question I was going to ask last week before the conversation evolved. So the question I was going to ask was about being neurospicy in doctorate education. I have disclosed, and my advisor has been very, very good about like, hey, what can I do to help? How can like I be helpful to you? Blah blah blah.
Yes.
I was just wondering, it's like, what is in your experience advising students who have like ADHD or another other similar type of I don't even want to call it. I don't see it as a disability. I see it as a superpower, but
as does my extraordinary husband, Professor Jamie Quitton, as Kate is nodding. Right. So the first thing, Adam, is I wrote a book how many years ago now? It was a different life. I was married to somebody else, Adam. It was that long ago. But I wrote a book called Enabling University, and it was about it, and I'm very, very proud of that book. And it was about creating the physical, the software, the hardware structures, the people structures, the professional development structures to ensure that our universities are open, universal design, universal access, and that we are able to welcome and enable students. And at that time, I was a head of school of teacher education in a regional university in New South Wales. And I was very cross. I could see Paul doing this, the closure, the disrespect of disability, that this is the normative way we do education, particularly teacher education, really frightened me at the time. And so this book emerged. And then obviously I continued to work in doctoral education, and I'm here now. So I think, and I need to apologise really to everybody who might be seeing this presentation today and our chat with Adam, that, our universities have failed colleagues with impairments. And found it historically. These universities are geared for a particular shape of body, particular genitalia, particular ways of doing things, particular ways of reading, of going to a library, of doing research, of doing experiments. And this is the way you do it, and they're the normative parameters. And that's how you do a PhD. And we have failed generations of colleagues with impairments. And Adam, the data set backs me up on this. As you know, about 50% of students that start a PhD don't finish a PhD. Attrition's high, but students with impairments have the highest attrition rate of all. So that really confirms that we fail. So what we have to do, Adam, is we can't rely on homology. We can't have the experience of a supervisor being replicated in the student, because our students are different. So we therefore require professional development intervention to talk about universal design, talk about simpler, better ways of using software and hardware, multimodality, and so forth. So it must start with the changes in andragogy for supervisors, because students shouldn't have to endlessly come out and declare matters of diversity or impairment, because that's at the moment what's involved. To be able to have a modification to your program, you must declare your impairment over and over again. And that's disempowering another human, rather than creating these beautiful spaces where all of us can be different. So that's sort of the program that we're trying to create, Adam. But can I go to Jamie? He's only got a few minutes before he throws to the airport. But Jamie, have you got any views on disability or impairment? I mean, obviously I'm dyspraxic. Jamie might wish to speak to this matter.
Hi. Yeah, thanks for the question, Adam. I, on Facebook this morning, shared something, and I always do the hashtag autism is my superpower. And I'm very happy to tell people I'm on the spectrum and so forth. Now, having been married to Tara for a while, she actually tries to help people be successful, and she thinks deeply about how that happens. And from a supervisory point of view, the great supervisors work with individual students. They ask the students, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? And all of us need to use our superpowers, whatever they may happen to be, to help us deal with our weaknesses. The most successful people, if you look at the 5 habits of highly successful people, they're the ones who aren't afraid of their weaknesses. They actually try to do something about them. So Tara helps people put structures in place to help them be successful. And I've seen her do it with time management, or I've seen her do it with, what distracts you if you've got ADHD, and what can you do to always go to as a point of focus before you engage, so that you've got a reminder of, I'm doing this. What am I doing this for? Right. So there's lots of little strategies like that you can put in place, but the best supervisors will work with you, as you've said, Adam, to help you understand what you're good at and what you're not so good at, and help you work on getting a good balance between utilizing your skills for good and developing the ones that are not so strong.
I like that.
Yeah, I had another thought. It's kind of gone from me, but
it's also Giving
That's
people
kind of,
space
it's
for
not, we're
rebellious.
talking about neurospicy or neurodivergent people, but it's true for all people anyway. You should do it no matter what.
Exactly. And we mustn't have, you've often heard me say, one of my cliches, it's one of Kylie's and my t-shirt slogans, is we can maintain standards without standardization. And that's the whole point. You can have, because, you know, high degree is important. The standard is everything, or else we close the programs down. But it doesn't mean there's only one way to get there. There's thousands, and it's about revealing that. And Adam, every time a supervisor says, and I sort of live in this zone, but every time a supervisor starts a sentence with, when I did my PhD, I sort of shut off. I shut off because we don't care. We don't care. A data point of 20, 30, 40 years ago is not a generalizable data point. And it's not about you. Supervision is about the student and the diversity of students, and your experience in a very different historical moment in our universities just can't really be generalized at all. Now, Paul made the great point, Adam, and we'll talk about what exists in the States too, that in the UK, students can get a form of what we call in Australia, Paul, a disability action plan, a DAP. And I'm a big fan of that. If students are comfortable to disclose matters, and it's a private matter and they can choose their level of comfort. If they disclose, then there are legal parameters in Australia whereby what they call modifications, reasonable modifications, can be made in response to the Disability Action Plan. So, Paul, it's pretty similar by my memory in the UK as well.
Yeah, pretty much the same. We use, academic access plans, AAPs, which just highlight learning differences. And as I was saying in the chat, in our school particularly, we historically react to those, and then suddenly one lecture changes because one student's academic access plan says they need material for that lecture 24 hours in advance to digest it. So in the school, we kind of said, well, why don't we just do a lot of these holistic, like informally, and actually we began to teach better through all of our modules, because we were thinking about, you know, digital diversity, multimodality, and better ways of teaching students. And it improved all of us as lecturers to basically look at these AAPs, the access plans, as a general way of teaching, and it's better inclusivity, and it definitely worked for us.
Legendary. We'll go to Jamie and then back to Adam again to get where he's at. Go, Jamie.
Can I just add the thing that I've told you I forgot? So fundamentally, I just want to respond to Paul and say fundamentally, students know when they have a teacher who is actually caring about the student's perspective. And if you can, you know, if you have a teacher or a supervisor who does that, you're already halfway to the success, right? Now I'm going to frame what I'm going to say deliberately and say, when I was a student, the smartest thing I did was learn how to work with my supervisor so that I could get him to push me where I needed to be pushed. And I also pushed him where he needed to be pushed. And, you know, I can give you data that might suggest that that was successful because I published 9 papers out of my PhD. But the main metric I would say that was a success was when he went away, I was more productive than when he was in my face trying to micromanage me. So he learned to trust me because I learned how to work with him. And if you can somehow do that, you will be much more successful.
Yes, and also that's beautifully said, Jamie. And we are reaching a point now where we have got some academics who have impairments and disabilities. It's a great tragedy, Adam, that 20% of our national populations are colleagues with impairments, citizens with impairments, and yet in doctoral programs up till very recently was only 3%. So it meant that students were not being educated in a group of supervisors that also had an impairment or a disability. And it makes a difference because, it takes me a little bit longer to get around. So when I'm having to do stuff like I'm doing today, it takes me half an hour longer because I've got to get around and I can't manage spaces and I can't manage stairs. So I'm just a bit slower, but that's good. That's good. But it means I'm always aware about different sorts of mobilities and meanings. And with Jamie, the nature of Asperger's and autism is that just making sure his environment is not overstimulated, that there's a very good frame and shape around him. And he is able to say, I'm managing this, I'm not managing that. And he has control of his sensory environment. And so, Adam, it's those sort of initiatives that make a real difference, I think. Can I go to Bree though? Because Bree's great point, I think, is significant, that I don't want a situation, Bree, well, I'm torn. I don't want a situation where people have to endlessly disclose, oh, by the way, I'm dyspraxic, you know, so dyspraxic written on your forehead, right? I want a system where we're all as humans respected and adored, and you can find your pathway through a program. But where's your perspective on the declaring or the not declaring, Bree?
It's more around the confusion. So my only like medical label that I have is, it's called Chiari malformation.
Yes.
And I'm still very confused about how my brain works.
Yeah. Oh, well.
So I you know, and I don't particularly like the word disabled, because I'm here and I'm doing my PhD and I feel able to do that.
Absolutely right. And
Yeah.
that's why, and also there's that notion, Bree, the word disabled comes from a medical model of disability, and the social justice movements that started particularly in the 1960s, all sorts of wonderful scholars use the word impairment, but also we start to use, Bree, a disabling society, disabling doctoral program. So it's not about a human.
But we're all different, and we
Yeah.
all have different brains. And so for me and my brain, I don't know that if that's all that's going on in my brain is a disability.
No, it's not.
Although, well, technically, I mean, NDIS, it is there, but type 2, not type 1. And I don't know if I'm type 1, 2, or 3. I'm not 3 because I don't think I would be speaking and moving the way I do if I was 3.
You are perfect just the way you are, Bree. And that's where I'm a bit torn, because I don't want this endless declaration of something that is supposedly, you know, Goffman 101, that's supposedly not within normative parameters. The normative parameter definition is the issue, right? So we need an enabling society, an enabling university, rather than labeling individuals. But straight to Liam, go, mate.
I absolutely understand where you're coming from, Bree. I'm a PhD student with a disability, and I had a learning support plan. It was never used throughout the PhD. They set me up with a study coach, which was funded by the Disability Support Service. And the study coach, I think they had the wrong idea about what the PhD life was about. They were trying to put a lot of undergraduate proxies, and I found it, as somebody who was working as a part-time university teacher, really infantilizing. I was like short of the person giving me biscuits at a table, and going, "Aren't you doing really well?" repeatedly, and I was just like, I was a bit incensed, and I just said, "Look, this isn't going to work. This coaching, if you can call it that, is not going to work." I told this person very respectfully, like, I need to find somebody else, or
I
just
think
not.
we call that validation, but like validation of whatever it is that you're explaining, but maybe they're not quite getting it, so they're just attempting a validation. Maybe.
Yeah, I think that was it. That was it. And I ended up getting this person's life history within 45 minutes, because I was more interested by the end of the conversation. I was more interested in their life story, their daughter who dropped out of university, and I was like, wow, this isn't about me. And maybe some people are in the wrong job. And also, yeah, I ended up that situation. I was just like, let's just not do that ever again. And
Liam, it's about, if you're doing proper support structures, it's about giving you the space. I often call it plug in and play. So you're doing fantastically, and then Liam says, right, this is a bit of a challenge for me. So you grab this and you plug in and play, and you move on a bit further, you unplug, and then you plug in and play when you need it. But can I quickly go to Jamie, who's straight in and about to hit a flight too? Go for it, Jamie.
And I know we're out of time. I just wanted to sort of say something to Bree, especially because you know, you get told that you're less capable because you've got this label. So I'm keen to you know, we're actually creating a new conversation that could easily balloon into something massive, and I'm sure that Sue and Kate could say something about this too. So what I want to tell you is that every student doesn't know how to get their PhD when they start, and you have to learn how to get there. all of us have to do that, whether we've got the tag or not. It's not fair that someone puts something on top of that and tells you that you're less capable than a typical person. You just need to find your pathway, and your pathway may be different. And I know even neurotypicals might have unique pathways. Our job is to help guide you through that and help you find it, and then empower you to be splendid the whole way through, and especially when you're done.
Thank you.
You're amazing, Jamie, and you're amazing.
Thank you.
Should we just touch base with Adam? So how are we going with Neurospicy? Are we addressing it slightly? See, I'm just very much, let's have lots of spaces and options for you to plug in interesting things as you need them. What do you think, Adam?
Right. Now, so it's just been a thing of, for those who don't know the North American system, it's normally like 2 years of classes and then 2 to 3 years of research. So I actually defended my proposal this week and passed without revisions. So yay. It's just like, I actually didn't even know I had ADHD until last year. It's like the first year I was doing research. So I was literally learning, I was basically flying the plane while building it at the same time. It's like, I need to test out different ways of doing things, and like, does this work? It's not. Okay, let's try this way. And so it's like, I finally think I found like a start of a system to help me, but it's like, this is not something that anyone can fix or build for me. It has to be something, it's like, okay, how do I make myself not distracted? And I think it was actually from Tara's vlog that she made for me a long time ago now. This goes away in the bag. And luckily they've added the feature since then of work setting. And whenever I have it, I only have it for the time. I do not see any notification. I do not hear any notification. And it's the most lovely thing ever. So if you haven't tried it,
put it in flight mode, because you're learning how to fly.
Put it out of flight.
Oh, good. Oh, yes. I like that.
But Adam, you've done a crucial point there, and I still use it to this day. Control your hardware. So yes, you can use enabling software, but just actually control your hardware. This goes over there. This goes over there. You do 30 minutes. Unbelievable, Adam. That's brilliant. But is that working for you? Yeah, Paul, digital minimalism, spot on, mate.
Yep. Well, I think also the approach I've done as well, which I'm giving myself the rest of the week off just to rest the brain. But like, I eventually need to start getting back in the habit of like, okay, right. So I might have to take the approach of the night before tactic of pick 3 things to write about, and the next morning is first 30 minutes of my day, write 500 words about those 3 things. And
look, I'll go straight into Anvita. You saw Anvita nodding there with her fabulous, glamorous hair. That was the way to really get Anvita from a pretty challenging space. You were there for a couple of weeks, mate, getting you back to task orientation and time orientation. Do you want to talk to Adam about that?
Oh, yeah. So about 2 months ago, I had this point where I needed to make a couple of decisions about the way I wanted to disseminate my thesis. And I think like through chats with the lovely group that we have over here and some really intense meetings with other colleagues and supervisors, I was able to like get myself back on track and make an actual decision about where I wanted to go. And I think that conversation or those couple of weeks were very hard, but they've gotten me back on track. So I had to identify what was really important for me to do at this point in time for me to get my PhD done, because that was the most important bit. And decided that the route by doing it purely through publication was not going to work for me, because I just didn't have enough time. And getting into that habit of writing for like my first 2 hours of my morning, and then doing anything else, research related for the rest of the day, and potentially coming back to it in the evening, that's definitely helped. And I don't know about you, but I use the Pomodoro technique a lot, Adam. It's the 25-minute, 5-minute break, 25 minutes, and you go on, and then at the end of like 4 of those sessions, you get like a 20-minute break. And that has changed my life. And we do it every afternoon.
I did do that for a little bit, but then I found myself turning into a phase of super hyper focusing,
Yeah.
where it's like I can't pull myself out of it, and then I just completely drain myself for the rest of the day.
It happens. So what I do is I use the Pomodoro time in the afternoon sometimes when I'm reaching my post-lunch slump and I don't want to do anything. So it's just like for 25 minutes, you either write about something or you work on something, or even if it's like reading a journal article, I kind of give myself, say read half the paper in the first 25 minutes, the other half in the next, and that kind of gets me through, that horrible 2 o'clock slump, which I think, I know a lot of people go through. We definitely go through. So about 3 or 4 of us sit in the afternoon and do this. And yeah. That works.
I mean, Adam, what might work for you too? I think, and Vita's really explained how beautifully that system can work in the afternoon. Adam, what might work for you? And I've seen so many students that are neurospicy use this, where they give themselves, you will do 500 words a day, and then you will stop and have a fabulous time. So what that does, Adam, is it uses that hyper focus you've got, and you hyper focus till you get to 500. You look at the numbers. So you've got the numbers that's keeping you honest and keeping you focused. And then you reach the number and you go, bye, Felicia. So that'll get you out. So that's the way to get you out of that focus. That could be an option too, Adam. Oh, sound, mate, sound.
Yeah, sorry, I was just thinking out loud. Yeah, I'm just thinking, I think I have tried that once or twice, and then I would think, oh, I got to 487. I don't know if I have any left. Like, okay, that's okay. Give yourself some grace. So I round that up to 500.
Yeah, and that's all right too, because some people even do it at 250 words. So don't worry about that at all, Adam. Should I go to the wonderful Shell, though? Shell, the light of our lives, waving at Shell, wishing I was waving at her down the corridor. Shell, Neurospicy is a new word for you, I believe. Neurospicy.
Yeah, it's very cool. I was actually thinking, I wasn't sure how to suggest it or whether it's even a good idea or whether it's just me who desires it, but might be on my own. And it's actually this conversation in a practical application sense. In like, I think I'd appreciate a space where I could show up and talk about things that are seemingly easy for other people, but maybe I'm working really hard to try and do the equivalent, or maybe there are better ways, or maybe this technology isn't the right technology for me, even though it's very common for people in my field, or maybe there's a better tool. And often those really practical logistical things slow us down, and we could be using our brains in better ways and benefiting off a community of, supporting colleagues who are at different stages of the journey, who have had insights. And, I don't know. I feel a yearning for that type of community of practice space. What is it to show up as an emerging researcher, and what are the tools of the trade, and what are the lessons learned, and how can we support each other and benefit from each other's experience as well.
That's beautiful, Shell. I do know that CDU has an early career researcher, exactly what you've expressed there, but it's about trying to find a way for high degree students to have lots of space through. And I do bits and pieces on the side, so we've got this wonderful gig like this. People suggest outriders, then we talk about the outriders. People suggest problems with their supervisors, so I configure a PD for their supervisor and for other supervisors as well. But it's just enabling the great research in this field, isn't it, Shell? That it's not each individual is reinventing the wheel. We have great research in this area, and we should be using it. Unbelievable. Should we go to Kate, the legendary Kate? As Jamie said, Kate will have something to say. Go for it, Kate, you rock star, you, one of the beautiful hair.
Shell, did you say neuroplasticity?
Oh, neurospicy.
No, sorry, wrong word.
So, I'm interested in neuroplasticity too.
Yeah, that's a good one too.
Neuroplasticity is fascinating. Now, I belong to a huge international group of people all my age, 70s and more, who suffer from the late effects of polio. Okay, so some of you know I was in an iron lung when I was 6 in Kenya. But this huge international group. So we've all had fairly productive lives I had no problem working, but then all sorts of things started happening to me 20 years ago. But I'm one of the fittest on the group. Some of them are so unbelievably disabled, and I mean no use of legs or arms, where they've been workers all their lives. And there was one fascinating chap who was trying to help the group. He only has the use of one arm. He's in a wheelchair, and he is a carer for his disabled adult grandson. I've got no idea how he does it. But he said what he's been practicing is neuroplasticity. And that's when you study and I read about it and I thought, this is fantastic. For me, look, my problem began with falls. I've had a lot of falls, and I thought, I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to walk anywhere, because I'd crash to the ground in the street and in a shop and in a aged care facility or hospital, so many falls I lost count. And I became quite homebound. So I was happy when we had lockdown, because I could just stay here and write. But what I learned was that I had to take myself back to a time in my life when I walked all day and every day and never fell. So that was a mental thing. And I took myself back to my student days in Sheffield. Who's from Sheffield in the UK? Somebody is.
We've got some Northerners. We've got some
Yeah.
Northerners. Liam is a
So-
Manchester lad.
None of us had cars in the 60s, so I'd walk miles to work, walk all day on the wards, and walk home. I never fell over then. And do you know, since I learned this neuroplasticity maybe 18 months ago, I've thrown away my disability sticker. I go out and I walk, and I have no fear. The fear of falling has gone. And that was just studying this thing called neuroplasticity. Anyway, that's...
Kate, West Street is a very different. I did my PhD at Sheffield, and West Street is a very different place now.
Right, now I worked at Western Bank Children's Hospital next to the university. And
Yeah.
actually in the university, we used to have some fantastic nights with musicians, and Ike and Tina Turner were there in about 1967, and I danced with them up the hall and back down again.
Oh, there's a cred line. I whenever Kate says these things, I think about anything in my 54 years that is as credible as dancing with Tina Turner, and there ain't nothing there. I got nothing. It's like there's dancing with Tina Turner, and there's nothing. There's bloody daylight, total eclipse of the sun, total eclipse of the moon, nothing, mate. But Paul, they were the days when, you know, the university music circuit was a big and productive one for paid musicians. It still exists, but not as it used to, mate. Oh, I just get a nod from Paul.
Yeah, it used to be huge. Used to be huge, and even up to the 90s, really. I guess early 2000s, but yeah, it's nowhere near as big a circuit, I guess, as it was, which is a massive shame. And the kind of university UK student union venues don't seem to plough as much money and time into those productions anymore.
I mean, Liam, you think about some of those big MMU gigs.
Yeah, the Chemical Brothers.
Chemical Brothers.
Yeah.
I was like, what?
But Kate, I think, wins the credible gig today. Unbelievable. But so, Brie, are we helping a little bit, and Adam, with the sort of our aspirational, what I believe the future of a doctoral program should look like, and how we fail. But also, Brie, I think it's about acknowledging, you know, and it's about saying sorry and apologizing to the generator. Oh, Brie, if you start, I'll start. Apologize.
Oh no, I'm just rolling my eye. No, I'm not getting No, we haven't quite got the emotional thing going yet.
But it is about apology.
I'm just going to say, I keep meaning to go, but we have at the Royal Melbourne, we have Scrub Choir, and they have sung with the World Health Organization, and I keep meaning to go along. I don't see. Actually, I sing on my way home from night shift to keep myself awake, because I work an hour away from where I live.
Darling,
so I turn the radio up full ball. So I keep meaning to go down. So I know the importance of music in healthcare and in our social system. Yeah.
And so you do that, my darling. You go and you report back to us. But it is about acknowledging that we haven't done well enough. We haven't done well enough in our doctoral programs for a century. We have excluded, we have destroyed people's lives. We've, we've broken people's dreams. We've broken people's hopes. We've destroyed families because we.
I don't want to look into it because, I'm only at the beginning of my PhD, and what I've experienced has been very exclusive.
Yes. And I'm hoping the movement to CDU will make that better, darling, because the buck does stop with me. So if anything goes wrong, I am probably the right dean to be handling that matter. But Adam, how are you feeling, mate? Are you feeling more like there's a system and a structure around you, Adam?
Yeah, it's just something that evolves over time. It's just got to go with the flow sometimes and figure out if things work for you or not. And then if it's not, adapt, be flexible. Also not being so hard on yourself for when things don't work, because that will ultimately happen. And I'm guilty of that, but.
But Adam, also demand that the system is flexible rather than asking that individual students are flexible. Demand that the system has that redundancy and that undulation and allows you to move through it in a different way. All right? Maybe. Look, can we talk to the legendary Ian? I've been sending good energy to the universe to Ian. Brother, how are you going, mate? Are you all right?
Yeah, hi everyone. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm tired, and but today's topic has been great. I've just been here listening, and for some reason, often, when I'm join Digital Office Hours, the topic is something that's just been happening to me that week. I think others in the group find the same sort of thing going on, but I mean, yeah, it was really interesting talking about the topics today. So yeah, I just got my application, my application to the Swedish Research Council, handed in on Wednesday.
Thank
and
God.
then yeah, so that's all done for this round. And then I just sort of stopped. Everything just stopped in my brain and my body, and I'm still in that phase. I can hardly even string a sentence together. I'm just in that post stage. So yeah, I'm just taking a bit of time this week to do nothing much and just to regenerate for a bit.
Ian, I'm so grateful, and I'm so glad you got the application in. It's been a big week for so many people. I know that. And so, Ian, I had everything crossed for you, everything crossed for Liam. And obviously, Paul has been through such a journey in the last 3 weeks. We just had to make sure he was alive and well. So that's good, Ian. I'm just thrilled. And look, Donna, I don't know if you can hear me yet or what's happened, but are you going okay, Angel?
Yes, thank you. I had to change computers, but I'm now at one with you all. So
one with you, but how are you going? How's the project going, darling?
Okay. I have supervision next week. Is it the week after next? Ethics have had a few queries, so I'm trying to address those at the minute, and then resubmit the ethics application. So yeah, I have to come up with amendments to the distress protocol for the mothers, and I had to ensure that I had additional support for myself built into it. And so yeah, it's okay. It just it can take a wee bit of time, I'm told. So this going backwards and forwards isn't particularly unusual. So.
And look, Donna, I know Lorraine and I were very worried about you. I think it was about 4 weeks ago, wasn't it, Lorraine? We were talking about the ethics, and obviously you didn't, the people you were interviewing wanted to use their names, and yet ethics was not going to let you use their names. And now to have these care structures, which again we all think are incredibly important, but as I said to Lorraine and to Donna at the time, the risk of not doing this research frightens me as well.
Yeah. And I suppose that's where the compromise comes in some of the time. I mean, I've already had my initial proposal, I had intended to look at social work files in addition to interviews, and it was just going to be a logistical nightmare. So I was advised at the progression stage to think long and hard about whether that was really viable. So in consultation, we've decided to park that and just run with the interviews, which I'm a bit disappointed about, but if it gets it through, it gets it through.
Lorraine, have you got a comment on this? I know you and I were both a bit sort of emotional and worried about a month ago, and that's why I'm so glad Donna's back with us. What's your feeling, Lorraine, on this?
Just from the start, so I at Highbury, there's so many things I could talk about here with what's been said today. That's the trouble with here. It's so great, such a good conversation. My ethics took about 6 months, Donna, to come through, and it did go back several times. There was just little bits that needed to be added, tidied up, explained. And because obviously the people at the Ethics Committee don't really have an in-depth understanding of what you're doing as we do. So a lot of time people make assumptions, and it can be a little bit frustrating. It's like, no, that's not what I mean. It's being really, writing to the 12-year-old about the steps and how that's going to, it helps get it through. So my understanding is it's perfectly normal for ethics to take it 6 months and lots of that to in and fro in. So I'm just a year over, Brie, and I know from the beginning I was watching heaps of videos, and not just because Tara's here. I have found her the most helpful, really, really. I was overwhelmed.
Just catching up on all of them now. So I watched a couple, and I'm like, oh my God, I need to watch all of these. And I saw your face, and there was someone I met in a not turbocharge but in one of those PhD things. I met Ferdinand and someone else that I'd seen on this. I invited him along. I said, oh, do you know about Tara's chat and writing club? Yeah.
I'm a big fan. But Lorraine, it's just having that support, isn't it?
It's the support, but I found myself becoming overwhelmed. So I was reading, and I felt that there was a lot of intensity behind some of the videos that I was watching, not Tara's, but others, where I was supposed to be having this panic state. And I was like, but I'm not panicking at the moment. So what am I missing? So I started to have a bit of self-doubt because I wasn't running around going, I don't know what I'm doing. I felt like I did know what I was doing. The I don't know what I'm doing came later, however, but I think for myself, I lowered my self-expectation of what I needed to achieve per day. And I just come to accept there's a lot of deep thinking. So although some days I'm not being productive writing, it's because I'm not able to at this moment, because I don't have the data. I can't do it yet, but I'm deep thinking. And I think that's something that we can't rush. So even though you feel like the output's not much, it actually is, because it's
doing the deep thinking.
You're deep thinking. Yeah.
I've written 1,200 words of like PhD notes. Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like I probably need to delete half of it. It's that deep thinking and getting it down on a piece of paper, so then I know where I'm looking. Yeah.
That is phenomenal. No, Brie, keep walking. Treat a PhD like a marathon and just keep walking. Don't look back. Just keep walking forward. The only final sort of point, as we notice the time sort of clicking through, and I want to talk with Sue next week because I want to do the update on her publishing and want to talk about books and stuff. But Lorraine, where I'm feeling quite emotional about Donna is, I feel in many ways quite disappointed and sad in myself, and I'm not Donna, although I sort of want to be Donna, but I feel quite sad and disappointed that she's not being allowed to do the work that is historically just, that these women have not been granted a voice to speak. And it breaks my heart that ethics is sort of a new way of disempowering that group. But is that just in my head, Lorraine?
No, I totally agree with you. I think there is, I think it comes back to the element of they don't understand, but also they're looking at from protecting the universities.
Yes.
That's that they just don't want anyone to come back with any, so it's control of harm being caused, where they don't really understand that, you probably have, more understanding of how to keep people safe in that space than they would.
Yeah.
But that's what I think it is. I think it's fear, because we do.
I'm not sure what the topic is, Donna. I'm not sure what your topic is, but it sounds like whatever it is, the harm's already done. So these women, I'd love to know. I'd love to know what your topic is.
Donna, do you want to just tell Bree, just do it, do your spruik on, this is what my PhD is on?
Yeah, I'm looking at closed adoption practices in Northern Ireland, and how that was experienced by the mothers that were involved in that process, and it's the time frame 67 through to 87. So yeah, but just by way of context and background, I work as a social worker in post-adoption. The last 25 years I've worked in post-adoption with mothers and interview them, not necessarily every week, because I also work with adopted people and siblings and adoptive families, but most weeks. Yeah, so I've a fair amount of experience, I would say. So it is a bit strange. I think there is protectionism at play, to be honest. Yeah.
Yeah. And Donna, just
That's
a final point. So Bree, Donna is changing the world, and she's very precious to me, and I sort of want to try and hold Donna in my hands and care for her. But Donna, just to help me, what are they suggesting in the ethics about your self-care? So what are they saying needs to be added to the ethics to enable your support? I'm quite interested in that.
Yeah, I suppose it lends. I listened. I was on holiday last week, but I did listen to the whole session on supervision, and it was brilliant. I was nodding away there. But I mean, I am still trying to figure out what my supervision, the role it takes, because I had envisaged debriefing and stuff maybe as part of that. And maybe that's not quite what they anticipated. So what I've done is actually I've spoken to a former colleague who's now a trauma specialist with the therapeutic support services psychology end of things, and she's agreed to act as a supervisor to me in terms of someone that I can debrief with if needs be, just in addition to my university supervisors if needs be. So I hadn't foreseen a need for that, but to be honest, folks, that's something we would do anyway professionally. If you come out of a session, you would be speaking to peer supervision and with other colleagues and stuff like that. So that's very normal for me anyway, to be engaged in that type of support. So I'm not maybe as worried about me as they are.
But I think, Donna, Lorraine's point's a great one there, that being avert, so what you create is what you believe is normative practice and normative professional behaviour, they didn't realise that was a thing. So as Lorraine said, be precise with it and be avert. Donna, you've helped me enormously this week. You are very, very precious to us, and the work and the research you are doing is so important, Donna. So I hope you know that. So colleagues, we've reached the end of another Digital Office Hours from the Waterfront CTU. I will see many of you in Right Club that is changing the world, Paul. We are populating journals around the world, brother. Colleagues, see you soon, and thank you so much for this beautiful hour. You are very precious humans. Much love, and welcome, Bree. You're a stunning human. Much love, darlings. Bye-bye.